Welcome back again to another episode of Glory, Glory with Jeff Dantzler. I'm Trey Littlefield. We are thrilled to have Chauncey Bowens and thrilled to have you joining us on the podcast today. First, before we have Chauncey come on, we're going to talk a little bit Georgia athletics. Obviously, we're going to start with football. Big game this weekend against Mississippi State in a really, really tough road environment.
No question about it. Jerry Clower and the Cowbells will be out in full force. The job that Jeff Lebby has done at State is just incredible. For my money, they're the most improved team in the country, and you could see that from, I believe it was week 2 when they beat Arizona State, which won the Big 12 last year, nearly beat Texas in the playoff. And just that jump that they've made. They took Tennessee to overtime. They took Texas to overtime. And when I was doing shows with Kirby earlier this week, he brought it up. He said, our records could be easily reversed.
100%.
We've won close games. They won a great close game against Arkansas. They've lost a couple of heartbreakers. You know, we lost a heartbreaker. But these games in the league, I looked at it, Trey, the last 2 weeks, there have been 13 SEC versus SEC games. 10 have been determined by single digits. So, I mean, it is going to be a battle. It's going to be tough. And we know one thing I've always known about State, they're always big and strong and physical
They are.
up front. And it's going to be a great atmosphere. They've got a terrific quarterback. And, you know, I expect this is going to be another one of those games that just comes down to the wire. It'll give me 4 or 5 heart attacks.
No pun intended, but a dogfight.
A dogfight.
In Starkville. And 2 games that stick out for me from Mississippi State. Well, 3, really. You mentioned the Arizona State game. They played phenomenal. Big win for them. The Tennessee game and then the Texas game. Mm-hmm. I remember watching the Texas game on my phone. We went to a Rock Lobsters game with the kids, but watching that game on my phone, I turned it off. I thought, man, they've won that. They, up 38-14. You mentioned the Florida game. They had that one. The Tennessee game. They had that one. So you mentioned we could have flip-flop records right now, and that's indicative of the job that Jeff Lebby's doing at Mississippi State.
It is, and Kirby has been so complimentary of it. And you think about the situation they got into, the tragic death of Mike Leach, who's a great coach there in Starkville. Then it doesn't work out, and then Jeff Lebby comes in. So they were in that spot where they had 3 coaches over 3 years, and that's always going to be difficult. And I can remember on a baseball road trip talking with the great David Kellum, the longtime voice of the Ole Miss Rebels. It was me and David Johnston, Christopher Lakos, and David said, I'm going to tell you what. He goes, I hate to say it because they're a big rival. Mississippi State just made a great hire because he had been the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, then went to Oklahoma, and then went to State. And DK just talked about what a great play caller he was. So when the Ole Miss guy is telling you that Mississippi State just made a great hire, we certainly took notice.
And then a good road win at Arkansas this past week. Really happy for them because you could see that team making strides, and you could that win against Arkansas is really going to help them in the future. Hopefully, it doesn't help them this weekend in Starkville.
Well, and you know it's funny too. Georgia and Mississippi State haven't played a lot through the years. The all-time series is 21-6, but this is going to be the 3rd time in 4 years. Won the game by 10 last year, and our second national championship team, the back-to-back in 22, we played a great second half there and won 45-19. Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey had just epic performances there. And I've joked before a couple of times, I think that one and then Kentucky the next week in Lexington will forever be the coldest back-to-back games that
freezing.
Georgia has ever
Mississippi,
played.
Ole Miss and Mississippi State is sneaky cold during this
cold.
time of year. I don't know if it's just flat, the cold, humid air. I don't know what it is. But
now, I want to talk a little bit about 1982.
There we go.
Because, you know, I'm Uncle Rico.
So I was 5 years from being born, so I'll let you take the lead on this one.
I was 10, and I remember we had beaten South Carolina, and this is back when you could only be on TV 2 or 3 times in the regular season. And my dad and I were watching the Falcons game, and all of a sudden it shows next Saturday in Starkville, Herschel Walker and the Bulldogs take on John Bond and Mississippi State. It's like, oh my gosh, the game's going to be on TV. So I had Munson going and just was so excited that the game was going to be on television. And it was a great victory. We won 29-22. State had a tremendous team with Bond and Michael Haddix and Danny Knight and Kent Hull. They were just terrific. And John Lastinger played a great game for us at quarterback. Herschel had finally gotten healthy from the broken thumb and went for over 200 yards. And that was just an epic win for us. That was a great win. And for me, that'll always be my favorite Georgia-Mississippi State. But I got another great before you tell, bro. Kirby's junior year in 1997, we were undefeated. They were undefeated. Coach Donnan had called the radio station and said, I need a copy of James Taylor's Steamroller, baby.
Oh, boy.
He comes out on, I think it was Thursday of practice that week, Wednesday or Thursday, driving a steamroller out onto the practice field. He said, boys, you're either going to be the steamroller or you're going to be the pavement. And that got everybody so jacked up.
I'm going to be the steamroller.
We won 47-0 that Saturday. That's another of my favorite Georgia-Mississippi State memories.
That's kind of along the same lines of the motivation that Jackie, we won't mention it, but that Jackie Sherrill used at Mississippi State back in the early 90s. Kind of along those same lines.
Yeah, that was that one didn't go over quite as well.
Didn't go over as well, but Jeff, I could listen to those old stories all day long, and definitely remember, as a native Mississippian, remember John Bond, remember some of those teams, and those are some old great stories, and really love, like Mississippi State and Georgia, those old school SEC teams, and all those stories through the years.
And never changed the uniforms either.
Never.
Well, we had the 2 times we did it. We won't talk about that, but just classic uniforms. Like you could look at videos, like we beat State to open the '66 season, 20-17, and the uniform's basically the same.
Yeah.
Just classic uniforms,
just classic.
And these are just old school, just SEC cornerstone.
Love it.
Universities going at it. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's the greatest Bulldog ever. Dan Miguel always said, I'll take a 1-point win right now. The only time I didn't say that was Kirby's first year before the Nicholls State game, and we won by 2. And I remember sitting there, one of my co-hosts goes, would you take a 1-point win tomorrow? I go, no. I'll say, well, I'm going to get a little more confidence. Said, no. I think, and then I'm going like, oh my God, if we lose this game, it's my fault. It's 100%. Well, we won by 2. Then the next week we won by 1 at Missouri. So yeah, I'll take a 1-point win right now, and I'll say that every game Georgia plays for the rest of my life.
Another lesson learned. Well, we've talked a lot about Mississippi State, talked about the phenomenal job Jeff Levy's done. You, as kind of the voice of the fans, the voice of Dog Nation, this team, I know I've listened to the Bulldog Brunch. You talked a lot about the job that Coach Smart's done. You've talked about Gunner a lot. As kind of the voice of the fans, as that person, what is something that you like about this team? What is maybe your favorite thing about this team?
I think the resiliency.
Yeah.
I mean, and as he's affectionately known on the airwaves, Coach King, Kirby Smart. I mean, he's already on the Mount Rushmore of all-time great SEC coaches.
Hands down.
He's hands down the best in the country. He's on his way to the Hall of Fame. And I wrote a column after the SEC championship last year. His record at that point was strikingly similar to Newt Rockney's. Through the same number of games. So he is on that kind of trajectory, and he's doing it at home. And the job that he's done with this team, he made a joke at an event in the spring, because I thought last year he did one of his greatest jobs with all the injuries we had and with the schedule and with the rules the way they're set up today.
Yeah.
It's just you can't assemble a roster like Georgia had in 21-22 or that LSU team in 2019. But the job he did last year and the job, I mean, he's done a great job every year, but this season, I think the way he's able to stay calm in the midst of the madness, and all these games are so close, it transcends to the teams. And we just have tremendous tenacity and tremendous resolve. And you can see, too, there are things we do during the game, and this is him being so bright, knowing it's going to be a 4-quarter game. There are things we might be doing in the first and second quarter that you might say, well, why are we doing that? That's not working. There's a cumulative effect that shows up in the fourth quarter. And you think about the past 2 games against Ole Miss and Florida. The defense was struggling for 3 quarters. But what happened? Fourth quarter against Ole Miss, got 3 straight stops after they had scored 5 consecutive touchdowns. Against Florida, they take the lead. Chauncey Bowens, our guest coming up here, breaks loose. We had gotten the 4th down stop to set that up, got another 4th down stop, and then ran out the clock. So after falling behind, we go stop, touchdown, stop, run out the clock. So it's that cumulative effect. I love the tenacity and the resolve of this
Well, teams
team.
take on their personalities of their head
100%.
coach, and pardon my grammar, but them dogs is hard to kill. I mean, they're
right.
just hard to kill, and that shows you the resiliency that our coaching staff has, our quarterback, our offensive line, the defense, everybody has.
Just a couple of numbers to throw out there. Since we lost to Florida in 2020, we are 64-6 in our last 70 games. Here's the one that I had to double check my math on this. In our last 41 SEC games, Georgia's 38-3.
That's unreal. Did you ever think in your lifetime, as a young kid in Statesboro, Georgia, watching the Dawgs, biggest fan ever, that you would see us have this
That's
kind
what
of
you dreamed about.
Yeah.
I would say many times when we were good, dare to be great, because I felt like we've always had the support system here, the greatest fans in the world. We just needed the right guy. And we've got that guy. And I say, if Alabama can do it, if LSU can do it, we can do it. And we have, because we got the guy. And the other part about all that, too, and I know we're talking about Mississippi State coming up, I think about, for me, like in the mid to late 80s growing up, that's back when I was really into Georgia football.
Yeah.
From 83 through 90, we lost to Auburn 7 out of 8 times. We had a 9-game losing streak to Tennessee in the 90s. And then there was the Spurrier and Meyer,
Florida,
3-18 between 1990 and 2010. Baby, there was some long drives back from Jacksonville and St. Simons back to Athens. My buddy Glenn and I called it our Trail of Tears.
Trail of
Tears. And then, it would get dark because the time has changed. I'm like, oh, here's another season lost. Give me some dusty roads. Hard times, Daddy. So now to have beaten Florida 8 out of 9 years, and I thank God I wasn't alive from 49 through 56 when we lost 8 straight to Tech, the infamous drought. So we got a 9-game winning streak against Tennessee, a 9-game winning streak against Auburn, 8 out of 9 against Florida, 7 in a row against Tech. That's 33-2 against those 4 going back to 2017. That is just astounding. I remember that I brought that up, and my friend Jay, who I grew up with in Statesboro, said, you would think, like back when we were younger, in a decade, like, okay, can we maybe go 7-3 or 8-2 against Tech, and maybe with the other 3 go 5-5, 4-6, and maybe one
just
year
hoping.
It all comes together.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is just the record against the rivals, these golden days. Of course, the national championships, the SEC championships. It's incredible. I try and savor every second of it.
Well, it's a lot of fun right now.
Oh,
These are the glory days. But we talk a lot about Coach Smart. I also want to talk about as things are going in college athletics, the stability of Georgia athletics right now. I thought, the athletic director, Josh Brooks, put out a terrific statement, with all the speculation going on with LSU. And, you look at the mentions, you look at the comments on that statement, just a lot of positivity going on because people believe in Josh, people believe in obviously Coach Smart and what they're doing. And it's paying dividends. I mean, you see what our teams are doing this fall. We have a chance, and you might know this. I'm going to look it up later, but to get 4 teams into postseason play this fall with men's cross country, ranked number 17 right now, with volleyball on the cusp of going in the NCAA tournament again, soccer.
We're going to be hosted again.
We're going to be hosting again in the SEC semifinals, 3rd time in 4 years, and obviously what we're doing with football. That's just our athletic department. The stability that we're enjoying right now is really beneficial. And
absolutely.
Really
No, that was, as I called it, that was a mic drop tweet from the best AD in the country, and Josh Brooks. And I was thinking about that with some of the turmoil at other places, and Josh put it out in that tweet. But the stability when it comes to Georgia athletics, from Governor Kemp to President Moorhead, to Josh Brooks to Kirby Smart. Every school in the nation is envious of that, from the Board of Regents to the athletic board to everybody. But it's those pillars, those cornerstones there. And in turbulent waters, you need a captain with a steady hand. And Georgia's got that. When you look now, that there are 4 schools in the SEC that have job openings, and who knows if coaches from some schools might move to others. It's not outrageous. In one of my day jobs, I do a daily talk show. So, hey, this was fun speculating about.
Yeah.
It's not outrageous to think you might have half the schools literally in the league with new head coach. We know it's going to be at least 4.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me if there were 6, 7, maybe even 8 new head coaches in the SEC.
That's just unreal with the way things are
crazy.
going in college athletics.
Yeah.
Like I said, just to be able to enjoy this stability
Every
and
second of it.
enjoy every second, starting with Mississippi State this weekend. But before we go and before we have Chauncey, I see Chauncey walking in now, but before we go to him, I do want to talk a little bit about our other teams. Basketball is here.
It's here.
It is here. First week of November, it has started. As you know, you've been on. I have so much respect for you. I was sitting beside you during the women's game. You called that game on radio. We got Coach Abe over to you as quick as we could for the post-game interview, and then you shoot over and do television. So you had about 4 hours watching our two teams. What stood out to you about our two teams early on?
I really like both rosters. I think there's an excellent combination on both teams, and it's kind of that three-prong approach these days. You've got your returnees, your newcomer freshmen, and your newcomers from the portal. I think both teams have a very good mix, and I am tremendously excited for Coach Abe and for Coach White and what we've got. As we know, that the league is just insanely tough and everything. And on the men's side, 14 teams made the NCAA tournament last year. But as we say, we see it in all the sports. And I guess we started talking about this in baseball, which has always been like that if you're good enough to get through this league and make it to the NCAA tournament, just like in football, if you're good enough to make it through this and make it to the playoff, you got a chance.
It's every sport.
Absolutely. You got a chance to make a run.
I think you look at our two rosters for basketball, you have good teams and that are going to become good teams, if you know what I mean. So really good players, good rosters. In the day and age we're living in, have to learn to play together, and I think that's what we're going to see, hopefully. So.
I think that's a great point. So, when does it really start clicking? And it's going to be different for different teams.
Yeah.
And obviously, the pre-conference schedule is a build-up to the conference schedule, then that's a build-up to the postseason there. But I'm so excited, and I know our fan base is excited too, and love going to these games midweek during football. So there's something to do every day. And like you had mentioned too, I know I think it's 99.9% lock. Soccer will be hosting probably the day before the Texas football game. So I think we'll have you and I'll be in Orangeburg, South Carolina the night before.
Living it up, living large.
Both basketball teams will be 4 or 5 games deep in. We'll have soccer, right in the middle of football season. So it really is a great time here in Athens.
Great time of year. Great to be your sidekick.
I love it.
On this podcast and on the road this year.
You're the best,
really
my friend.
It. We got Chauncey. He's walked in. He's coming up. Looking forward to talking to Chauncey.
I've challenged
Bowens.
him. Herschel went for over 282.
He
so
can do
let's
it.
see if
Twin
Chauncey
bill.
can
Let's
do it.
do it. Jeff, thank you so much.
You're the best,
Looking
my
forward
friend.
to talking to Chauncey. We'll have Chauncey Bowens coming up next here on Glory Glory. Hey, Dog Nation. If you want more original content from Georgia Athletics, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Georgia Bulldogs Athletics.
And Glory Glory Podcast is also available to listen on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. Go Dogs!
Welcome back to the Glory Glory Podcast. We are thrilled to have the man of the hour, Georgia's leading rusher this season, in a very deep Georgia backfield. Had a fantastic game against Florida. Come to join us today, Chauncey. First of all, congratulations on an exciting victory this past Saturday against Florida.
Thank you.
And I know for you, being from Port St. Lucie, going back to Florida, that game had to mean a little something special for you, something extra.
Yeah, no doubt. I ain't gonna lie. It was just crazy because I hadn't been back in the state of Florida in so long. So, just coming back there, and obviously my history, previously being committed there, it was just it was crazy.
A lot of fun. Of fun.
Yeah, Chauncey, I was thinking, last year obviously he battled through a lot of injuries. In the spring game, Leland Barrow, who works with Trey, two of our great sports information directors, we were talking, and I could tell you had that burst that we didn't quite have last year because you were hurt. When did you feel you got that back, and just how big was that for you being healthy in the spring carrying over to this fall?
Yeah, I would just say that downtime, we get off the season, right after the season, just kind of getting more healthy and just being able to get that feeling in my legs. I was good again, going into spring, and I kind of knew I felt good, my body was, pretty good going into that spring game. So
then you made the most of it there in the second half with the game-winning touchdown run, 70 yards. We know the story. But talk about your mindset, with such a deep backfield in that first half, kind of what you're thinking there on the sidelines. What's your process during that time?
Yeah, Obviously, some people, I know at other schools, like if a back's not playing, they got XYZ amount of yards and touchdowns. Like they'll probably be, out there stressing. But I mean, I kind of know like what I feel like I can do and what I feel like I can bring to the table. So like it's never really a worry for me. It's just when I get in there, it's like, okay, like now it's my turn. So I just waited for my turn. I don't panic. I don't worry about anything else. I like seeing my brothers do good. And when I get my turn, I just know I'm confident.
And what's awesome about that, you were fresh. Man, you came
Fresh
in the game
legs.
the second half, like I said, 70 yards and the game-winning touchdown. So that was awesome.
All right, now I'll focus on Mississippi State now. And Starkville, we know it's going to be a tough test. Coach Smart and I were talking earlier this week. We've won so many close games. They got a big win over Arkansas. Yep. They've gone to overtime a couple of times. I mean, a couple of bounces of the ball the other way, our records could be reversed.
Right.
I mean, we could be sitting where they are. They could be sitting where we are. I know how much respect you have for Mississippi State, and it's going to be a great game on Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is one of those teams where it's like, okay, like they're going to be physical. They have a really old veteran defense. Like they have a lot of like seniors, juniors,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you look around, like you don't really see any, like on like in our team, we have a lot of sophomores, some freshmen that are getting in. Like they're pretty old, so it's like we know that they're going to be.
Is Elijah Griffin the largest freshman you've ever
Yeah.
seen? No, Juan Gaston too.
Juan Gaston, yeah, don't forget him.
I got a funny story. The legendary Hall of Famer Kevin Butler, he brought his grandboys over here for practice. I think it was the Florida week, and he took his 6-year-old Ethan out on the edge of the field. It was raining, so you guys were working out inside, and the offensive line walked by, and little Ethan kind of jumped back, and he saw big number 73. He goes, "Whoa, he's bigger than a transformer."
Big boy.
So those two guys, they just seem to get bigger and bigger, don't they?
Yeah, just large human beings. That's the only way to put it. And they're still young. Like I was thinking about it. Like I'm in the game, and it's fourth quarter. We're trying to ice Florida. I'm looking at Juan. I'm like, this guy's young. I'm looking at him. I'm like, he's young,
now
though.
how much? I mean, I know you being a back, I'm sure you can eat a lot. But for those guys, do you ever just sit there and watch them? Like how much can a guy like Juan Gaston or Elijah Griffin eat?
I've never seen before. I'm not sure, but probably a lot though. Yeah, probably.
They
a
could
lot.
give us some competition.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
sure.
yeah.
I'm
I mean,
sure.
I had one of our trainers tell me, here's the thing about Juan, his weight can change about 8 times during a day, depending on how much he ingests. So, but it's got to feel great too. This offensive line, we've been so beat up all year. Now getting guys back healthy, getting that continuity, that's been huge for our success, hasn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that bye week was big time for us though. Like to be able to kind of heal up and get guys back and get guys more healthy. Like that meant a lot for us to be able to get that. So. Yeah, especially going to that Florida game too. Like, that was good.
And you mentioned the bye week. You mentioned the grind of the SEC, going on the road again. How do you handle that as a player? Like, how do you, from a body standpoint, how do you keep your body in tune with that such of a grind of a schedule?
No, great question. The biggest thing I would probably say is like you just got to cut out distractions. Like, there's so many different distractions pulling you away from football, but the main goal is the main goal. You know what I mean? So it's like. No, this is my time for recovery. This is my time for school. This is my time to focus on film. Like, you just got to kind of set boundaries and set times for everything. But it has to be in your schedule, you know what I mean, to recover and try to get, better.
That takes a lot of discipline because I know it can be overwhelming. And then also, I know what Kirby talks about with the noise from the outside. I remember talking to one of our All-Americans from the 1980 National Championship team, a great kicker, Rex Robinson. And I said, well, Rex, when we got to 8-0, 9-0, how bad were the distractions? And he said, well, honestly, back then, this is way before the internet and social media. He said there was basically, ESPN wasn't even around. We didn't have cable. He said basically, it was either the Atlanta local news or the newspaper, so it was easy.
Right.
Well, now, I don't even know how many things are out there on the internet. There's probably something new every day. So do you just tune all that out 100%, or do you just kind of pick your spots?
I kind of so we got a little personal mode on your phone, it's like do not disturb. So I kind of just leave that on. I don't really like getting my social media notifications really, because that stuff can just blow your phone up all day and have you checking and all this screen time. So kind of just put on my do not disturb, just especially on days like these, practice days, you want to focus on film, school, and practice. You don't want any other kind of outside distractions. So.
I got to admit, I was reading your bio, and I've never seen this before. Not only did you compete in track in high school, you were on your lacrosse team.
Yeah.
So how did lacrosse prepare you for football? I bet you were a killer lacrosse player.
Yeah, I was. I like to say I was a force on defense, but it definitely helped me. Like, it's probably one of the closest things you can get to football outside of the season. So, and it kind of mimics a lot of football stuff, I would say. I mean, you do have a stick and ball, and it's different kind of rules.
So I'm going to test your knowledge of history here. Do you know what great running back was also?
Jim Brown.
There you go.
There you go. I like it. All right. Now, I want to talk about. We want to talk about the fun stuff now.
Yeah.
You got some black Air Jordans on there. Are you? What do they call it? A sneakerhead? Is that are you big into sneakers?
Yeah,
okay.
I am. Yeah, I'm big into sneakers. I can't even lie.
Yeah.
Oh, how many pairs of shoes do you have?
I'll probably say like under 20.
That's
Okay.
not terrible.
That's not too bad.
No, that's not
normal.
too bad.
Yeah.
So you have. I've always with it. You have the ones that you work out in, and also the ones for style, though, right?
Yeah. Like I'm more. I would say I'm a sneakerhead, but I'm more quality, like over quantity. Like I don't just buy like XYZ kind of sneakers, but like when I see something nice, I say, like I gotta go get that.
Yeah.
All right, Trey. Let's talk some food.
Yeah. Let's do some food. So, favorite maybe pregame meal, or what are you eating the night before a game?
Night before a game. That's a good question. I'll probably like try to get some pasta or something.
Yeah.
Probably some like pasta, or like maybe chicken. But I would probably say like 2 nights before the game, like that's probably my biggest one. I'm like, okay, like
That's when you pig out. That's when.
Coach Sinclair's not listed. Don't worry. Do you have a guilty pleasure? Like for me, my 2 favorites probably fried chicken and fried shrimp.
Right.
And I asked Coach Sinclair one time. I said, "What's the key exercise to losing weight?" And he goes, "The pushback from the
tough
table."
to do.
I'm not very good at that one. So what's your guilty pleasure? Kind of your go-to that you like?
probably a big steak. Yeah,
absolutely.
Like a big steak, ribeye. And yeah, you give me that, I'm probably going to.
I was eating with this guy one time, and he was probably, I don't know, 400 pounds, 350 pounds.
Yeah.
He said, Trey, he says, anybody can stop eating. It takes a real man to keep going. so I appreciate that.
All right. How about
appreciate that.
how about music? Who do you like? I mean, who are you into now? Who are some of that old guys like me might have heard of? Some of the old classics that you like.
So I would probably say before, I'm trying to think of who I was listening to before my last. Oh, Chief Keef.
Okay, there we
I was
go.
listening to Chief Keef for my last game, but like it was just the regular. I'll just be listening to music. I mean, I listen to everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just a mixture. Like I listen to rap, country. You find me
love
listen
it.
to anything.
I love it.
I think that is a worldly person. I like all kinds of music too. He does.
All
We always
kinds.
say before ball games, like I just like to hear different mix, different genres in there because there's all kinds of good music everywhere. Isn't
Yeah,
there?
it is.
I always like to, being from Florida,
Right.
I'm sure you grew up a big sports fan. You have plenty of NFL options. What was your favorite, maybe sports team, favorite NFL team growing up?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, okay. Going
All
out of
right.
state. I love it.
I got to tell you, that was my team growing up too.
Really?
There was a famous Coca-Cola commercial with Mean Joe Green on it.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
And I remember this was in their heyday because they won back-to-back Super Bowls, 74, 75, 78, 79. So this was during that run. I was a little guy, and that commercial was on, and I loved it. I go, Dad, who does that guy play for? He goes, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said, well, that's going to be my team.
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
that was the steel curtain. So I'm trying to think. Well, I guess, are you too young to remember Jerome Bettis?
Nah, I know Jerome Bettis.
Okay, he was a great. Was he
Nah.
your favorite back for the Steelers?
I like Le'Veon. Le'Veon was more kind of
Okay.
like who I ended up watching. Like that was around my.
Well, he was a hard, punishing runner too, and I think that's one thing. I'm a tailback connoisseur. I mean, Trey will tell you, I love tailbacks. Herschel was my hero growing up, so I've always been a tailback guy there. And I always appreciate with tailbacks, you guys appreciate the great ones before. Like you know who Jim Brown was. You talk about Le'Veon Bell. And I think for all of you guys, whether you mean to or not, you can pick up styles from backs that you admire.
Yeah.
Who's a back maybe that you emulate or you model your game after? Who's that?
It's a lot of guys. But I'd probably say like if I had to just pinpoint two my whole life, I always used to watch Saquon, and Sony was big for me. I watched Sony a lot for him being a Florida guy and me trying to do the same thing he did. Like I watched a lot of Sony.
Yeah, good memories with Sony for
Oh
sure.
my gosh! You know
For
the
sure.
thing too. That 2017 team, when the Kirby dynasty got going, it was one of those things. And some of the best things in life, most of them are authentic and organic. Like our three best players are Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, and Roquan Smith. They were also like three of the great guys and great leaders on the team. So could you talk about that just in terms of leadership? And I know you're just in your second year there, but you see it, how important that is within the framework of a team, veterans. And I know for you, you're such a great young man. As your career goes on here, you're going to become a great leader too. Just how important that is in the locker room and on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's can't even explain how important it is. You know, like it's nothing better. Like, it's nothing better than having guys that like kind of set it and then hold a standard for you. Because I can say myself, like that's kind of how I tried to be in high school. And coming here, I'm like, so I'm just trying to lead off of, like, when I was in high school, I was just trying to lead off of just what I thought the definition of being a leader was. And then actually coming here and, like, seeing some of our great leaders, like, in action, like last year, like, we had Jalen Walker, who's an awesome leader on offense. Like,
He was a coach on the
man,
field.
he
Yeah,
was. He
like,
was.
awesome leader. And then this year, like, CJ, awesome leader on the defense. Raylan, awesome leader on the defense. And, like, we have so much depth. And even look at Gunner. You know what I mean? Like, one of the best leaders I've ever been around in my whole life. It's like kind of learning from those guys on how to do it. So I know, like, this is my second year, so it's not as necessary as pressure on me to be like, okay, you got to be like the leader. Everyone's going to look at you. So, but for me, it's just learning from these guys because I know, like, when my time comes, like, okay, you got to do that. So,
Yeah.
Is Micah Morris a great leader too?
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm from Southeast Georgia, and he's one of those guys. My folks down in Camden County were telling me about him when he was in like 11th grade. And my wife was a teacher, and I said, "You're going to love this lineman we got coming," because they said he's got over a 4.0 GPA, and he's a great player too. So just a great student. I love Mike. I think he's one of the best guards, if not the best guard in the SEC. What's your take on that?
no, I agree. I said it earlier, and someone asked me in one of my interviews. They were like, "Yeah, like how valuable is it to have a guy like Micah Morris on your O-line?" I'm like it's invaluable. You know what I mean? It's like you can. It's no price on getting a guard like that. You know what I mean? To run behind.
And I'll tell you, on Nate Frazier's run in overtime against Tennessee, he had the block. I mean, he sprung. I mean, that turned a 5-yard run into about a 23-yard run.
Yeah.
And you love it too I love it when the big guys get moving and get downfield, because when they get past the linemen, when those offensive linemen see a defensive back out there, it's like, oh, it's time to eat.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, you mentioned C.J. Allen. We had a chance to sit down with him like we're doing with you earlier this year. Just a
He's awesome.
Great guy. You mentioned him being a leader. What's something maybe you've learned from C.J. over the course of this past year? Is it just a lead by example kind of guy?
Yeah, just a lead by example type of guy, like just firing us up for practice, and I mean, just awesome leader. Like, that's the only way to put it. Like, he sets a standard every single day, and some guys come out and they come out flat, and he's not scared to address them. You know what I mean? And that's probably one of the biggest things about being a leader that people don't want to do. And he always confronts and demands, and that's really what leads our defense.
Yeah, and you can see that. We enjoyed talking to him.
Oh, he's awesome.
A bunch. He was awesome.
All right. So speaking of, do you like the superhero type stuff for movies, the Marvel, the Superman stuff like that?
I watched the last Superman movie, the new one that came out.
Okay. So who's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero? That's a good question. Probably Batman. I like Batman.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
I like the gadgets, and you know what else? He's rich.
Yeah.
I'm more Batman than Superman for sure.
Yeah, because Batman had to do it on his own.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
I mean, I like Superman too.
I like that.
I like Batman too. So, give me a couple of movies that you like, a couple of your favorite movies or TV shows.
TV shows. I grew up on. I grew up on SpongeBob.
Okay.
I watched a lot of
I like a little
growing up.
SpongeBob.
Yeah. Let me think. What else? I used to watch some George Lopez when I was a kid. Yeah. It used to come on at like 12 a.m. I used to wake up and hear the theme song. I'm like, oh, okay, let me watch some George
Low
Lopez.
Riders. There you go.
There you go.
But I think the thing too for the cartoons, and I guess and Trey's got 2 little boys. You kind of learn this as you get older. There's a lot of humor for adults written in there.
There is.
Yeah.
The best cartoons keep the adults entertained.
100%.
For sure.
100%.
Well, Chauncey, tell us. I always like this is a broad question. I like to ask it. What's something about you that people may not know? Maybe a talent, maybe something, a little factoid about you that people may not know. The lacrosse one's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest ones.
Yeah.
Maybe I play soccer too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That helps with the footwork, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it does.
Playing the soccer. I mean, I would bet that's a big reason. And by the way, that's another thing, too, that Kirby loves. He wants guys, and I want you to pass this advice along, too, to play as many sports as you can. He wants those guys competing. And also, your body needs to heal. So, when you're younger, playing multiple sports, it's essential, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. Especially, like, out of and when you're in high school, too, it's like you got to try to do something to keep your body going. And, like, even for me, like, being able to do track, and then lacrosse, and then I was actually flipping back and forth between soccer and track. So, like, to be able to do all that stuff and just keep your body going, I mean, it teaches you, like, your footwork. Like, you're more working on footwork than anything when it comes to soccer. And track, obviously, I mean, it's just improving your speed. So, being able to kind of flip between those and then play lacrosse, too, it was like, it did a lot.
So three-sport star, what's maybe one sport you wish you would have played? Or you wish you were good at it?
Probably baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah, I don't think I can really hit a ball too well, but yeah, probably baseball if anything.
Yeah.
Well, Chauncey, this has been awesome. You've done such a great job. You're having a terrific season. And for this team, I know it's about short-term goals, but there are long-term goals out there as well, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Well, the next goal is to beat Mississippi State.
Yep.
As he said, it starts this Saturday. We'll be watching, be pulling for you. That's Chauncey Bowens. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Sir.
Really enjoyed
Thank
the
you.
conversation.
Air Jordans and SpongeBob.
Love
I
it.
love
My
it.
kind of guy.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back after this on Glory Glory Podcast. Welcome back to the Glory Glory Podcast alongside Jeff Dantzler. I'm Trey Littlefield. Fun show today. Talked to Chauncey Bowens, who just did a fantastic job against Florida. I really enjoy these conversations we're having with our student athletes.
And I'm hoping Chauncey can do what Herschel did in 1982 and go for over 200 yards and deliver
pressure.
some victory at Mississippi State like back in 1982. But he's a terrific back. I love getting to know these kids and just getting the insights, their favorite movies, favorite foods, stuff like that. We got so many great kids here at Georgia, and I'm so excited, obviously, about what we've done this fall and what should be a great game in Starkville, Mississippi, where you and I have done some very good eating through the years on basketball road trips.
As we always say, half the fun of going anywhere is eating, and we've done our fair share of eating on road trips. So looking forward to Starkville. Might be a trip to Harvey's in our future in Tupelo Friday night. But, yeah, really fun trip always going back to Mississippi. So
always great being with you, my friend. And we're in that crossover season now for football and basketball. And for Georgia fans, what an incredible time this is to soak it all in.
It sure is. And thanks for all you do. I know you had a doubleheader basketball game Monday night. You've got men's basketball coming up. You've got a women's basketball game Thursday. I can't even keep track of your schedule. I'm sure you have a hard time keeping track of it yourself.
Well,
so.
I think you're the busiest man in show business. Always love being with you, my friend. And just let's go win in Starkville. Go Dogs.
Let's do it. Enjoy Chauncey coming on today. Remember, like, comment, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Thank you, Jeff. Enjoyed it.
You man.
Go Dogs.